Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV for your late night edition Afterthought US of A. And I am joined by Lucas, all the way from where are you, Lucas? Maryland, isn't it?
Maryland, DC, you could say. I'm about like 30 minutes away from DC, but Maryland
Thir-
to be specific.
30 minutes from DC. And I'm also joined by Santa Claus, all the way from the South Pole.
Christmas came early, mate, with the result. So
Christmas came early for Matt, all the way from Mexico, not far from the American border. Gents, let's start off with Lucas. Thoughts, mate? West Ham beat Chelsea. Lucas, what's going on?
An absolute roller coaster of emotion for sure. I don't know. I really didn't think we particularly played great, but I mean, in the end, we ended up getting it done. But just another up and down match, just the same thing. But we finally showed a bit of quality in a little clinical finishing, and our defending has just been so superb this season. It doesn't matter who's in the back. I know Zuma went down, said he felt a pop in his knee, which isn't great, but let me tell you that Dawson, Diop, Sufal, Dawson, Diop, Cresswell, Dawson, Diop. I mean, we've just been so solid in the back. It's been really nice to see.
What's your thoughts, Matt, yesterday?
well, mate, it's like Sir Alex Ferguson always said, the sign of a good team is when you don't play well and you still manage to get a result. And I think that's that's where we've set ourselves up for these days. You know, we are a good team, and whether it's lucky, however you want to paint it, we have picked up results maybe when we haven't deserved it, and this is a perfect example of it. And it just shows. I mean, at the end of the day, mate, whatever way you cut up this game, people don't score 3 goals against Chelsea, not in their current form. You know, so that really, I mean, it's the result speaks for itself. Outside of the victory, you know, just the way that we were able to get those 3 goals. And that's considering that we only have 1 corner in the game, for those who want to call us a set piece merchants. But, you know, and just absolutely chuffed to bits, mate. Absolutely stoked.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I agree. I thought we put in a good performance. Would I say it's performance of the season? I think the Liverpool one's the better one for myself. Yeah. But I must admit, we played decent. But we'll start off at the beginning. Obviously, Thiago Silva, Lucas, decides to wander in the box and put them 1-0 up. What was you thinking at 1-0 down, mate?
I didn't even have to see the replay. I mean, I didn't know exactly who it was that didn't jump with Thiago, but like I just saw no one jumped with him, and it was
Antonio, no?
It was, and I was just like, "What the fuck are we doing? Like, that's just not acceptable at all. There should never be wandering eyes on a set piece. You should be chopping your feet, moving, jumping, doing something. Even if you don't have to jump, do something." But that first goal was completely unacceptable. That was very lazy defending.
What was you thinking, Matt, when Thiago Silva decides to bury the header?
I thought it might have been deja vu, mate, from the last game, that when they spanked us 3-0. Remember when Thiago got that goal, and then Abraham decided to pull his thumb out of his arse and get a double. I was worried. I thought it could have been deja vu there, because I mean, that's a brilliant header. I mean, those I'm quite good in the air. I go up a lot for corners when I play, and those headers that go bounce in front of the goalkeeper are absolutely unstoppable most of the time, you know. So great goal, but like Lucas says, at least someone should have challenged that better than it was. But I mean, it is what it is, and I think that we just we didn't let our heads go down, and I think that's one of the things that Moyes has done. You know, how many times have we come back from losing positions, not only this year but over this season and the last season? And I think that's the difference now with West Ham, with this culture of excellence that Moyes has got, that we don't drop our heads like we used to. Because in the old days, going down like that, you know, against a team like Chelsea, I mean, it could have ended up a 3-0. It could have ended up even worse. So really happy with the response.
And obviously the response was, Lucas, Jared Bowen, mate, turned up and performed. That boy was on fire yesterday, and he wins the penalty against Mendy. First of all, let me ask you, Lucas, and I asked Matt after you. First of all, he wins the penalty. Mikel Antonio picks the ball up, and Declan Rice tells him to no. Manuel Lanzini.
Did he?
Yeah. What do you make of that? And obviously, what do you make of Bowen's contribution to that first goal for West Ham?
Oh man, I mean, we'll probably get to it later at some point, but Jared Bowen played probably as close to a 10 out of 10 performance as you can play without scoring a hat trick.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ, what a player he is. I mean, you don't see players like him every day who he really possesses so much quality and he just doesn't stop fucking running. He is a rabid dog all times. And watching on NBC here in the States, I don't think they showed Antonio trying to pick up the ball or any of that, but I mean, it's a normal thing for like the captain or the goal scorer to, take the pen. And it bothers me that we still have not figured this shit out yet. Like, me personally, I've always been a huge, just give it to Declan Rice. I know he can put him away because we don't really have a penalty gap besides Noble. And I don't ever want to see that bullshit again. Him coming on the pitch, no warm up, trying to take a penalty. I hated that so much. But I wanted Declan to take it when I saw Lanzini take it. I mean, I had the normal nervousness, like, oh shit, here we go again. I just really wish we would cement a place kicker. But I mean, it was a class finish from Lanzini. I was very happy.
What do you make of it, Matt? On both?
I mean, that the way that Bowen pressed. I mean, like you said, that's Bowen when he's on form, you can't knock his energy, his motor. I mean, very sloppy from Jorginho. I mean, very, very, very sloppy, especially at that close distance to stick it back there.
The third place Ballon d'Or player,
supposedly.
Jorginho.
And no idea what Mendy tried to do there. I think he tried to channel his inner Edison and got it completely wrong, to be honest. But I'll take it. And that, like we talked about, that's the difference. Games like yesterday are the ones where, you're talking about a Jared Bowen that could potentially go to a team like Liverpool, and other games where he's not so hot and he barely makes our team, doesn't he? But that kind of pressing is what makes a massive difference that we used to have with Antonio before he was knackered, because Antonio used to be a hot presser. And even going back to the old Arnautovic days, remember how Arnautovic used to press so well as a lone striker up front. And it makes such a difference, and that kind of pressing that we just miss most of the game when Antonio's walking around, which is a real shame. I mean, if Antonio could press like Bowen most of the game, it would be a completely different situation for most games. But I mean, when it comes to the penalty taker, I agree with Lucas. I mean, I did see it here that Antonio was looking for it. I would agree that I will probably go with Rice, but at the end of the day, I mean, Moyes needs to make the decision and pick the man. I was worried. I saw Lanzini's face. They made a couple of close-ups here. He looked nervous. I was worried. He did look nervous. Maybe it was just my perception and he wasn't, but he did look a little bit nervy. And but he stuck it away really nicely, mate. And at the end of the day, I don't think any of us have got doubts about Lanzini's quality. I mean, going back to, when he got picked up for the Argentinian World Cup squad when he got that horrific injury, and it's nice to see him back on form and back fit, because he is adding that little bit of competition to the team in those front three behind Antonio, that there wasn't any competition really. Those three in Benrahma, Fornals and Bowen were pretty much guaranteed a spot. And I think that led them to quite a few subpar performances, any of the three, because they did it, during the start of the season. And now that Lanzini's in there, definitely competition is just really, really hotting up, and it's only going to come good for the team.
I agree, mate. Obviously, we go 1-0, and then Mason Mount decides to score that goal. And what did you make of that, Lucas? Obviously, Ben Johnson got injured and had to come off because of the result of it, basically.
I mean, it was a great hit. Fair play to Mason Mount, but my number one pet peeve every single time, I don't care who it is, letting a goal go in near post is just absolutely unacceptable. And I don't really give Fabianski a lot of criticism because he's been keeping the better goalkeeper on our team like away from his number one spot, but that's just unjustifiable to me. Like I said, it was a great hit. It was a great hit off the volley. Fair play to Mason Mount, but Fabianski's got to at least get a fingertip on it, bare minimum. I thought it was very poor.
I agree. What did you make of it, Matt?
Yeah, exactly the same, Matt. I was effing and blinded about Johnson before I realised he was injured. Because it is one of the issues that we've seen with him. He doesn't play at the same level left back as he does right back, which is understandable because your positioning's different. It's a little bit more awkward, like we saw in the previous game. He was getting a lot of passes overhit straight onto his left foot that he was struggling to control, because obviously you're opened up with your profile, your body position's opened up to take that first touch and move on. And he did look like he struggled last game, especially with those passes that he was getting overhit. And I was effing and blinded, where was he? I was having, I don't know if you've watched Arsenal recently, but their current left back is absolutely shocking defending, great going forward, but exactly that gets caught out in those kind of positions. And then when we realise he got injured, it starts to make a little bit of sense, But Mason Mount, great finish, and like Lucas says, you just don't want your keeper to be beaten at that front post. But Fabianski looked disappointed enough with himself, to be honest. So I'm not going to throw any more slack his way.
I agree, mate. It's the near post one does it for me a little bit. I think he should get there. I think if he goes the other side,
it's especially the ones that are low too, like the low near post, just unacceptable. If you blast one near post top corner, like fair play, you can't stop that. But when it's bottom near post, like you gotta bare minimum get a finger on it.
Yeah, and I agree totally. And obviously, we're going to half time, 2-1 down. And then second half, we come out and Romelu Lukaku comes out to Chelsea. And I'm thinking, oh, no, what's going on here? But we kicked off the second half and Mikel Antonio decided to turn up in the second half because the first half I thought it was awful. And then
dreadful.
That man turns up, Jared Bowen. Lucas, end product was there on Saturday, wasn't it, mate?
I mean, that was just you look when you sign someone like Bowen and you hear the potential, you watch the film, you watch the highlights, and that's what you should be expecting from him, and he does it. It's so blissful because we all know he's a class player. Because there's, like I said before, it is so rare to find a player like him that just grafts all game long, and then he has that kind of quality. That's just so rare. You do not see that. Like even some of the greatest players of all time, they can't do what Jared Bowen does. And I mean, golly, Iron Bowen, prime at its finest, absolutely mint. It's just a beautiful finish, and credit to Antonio for heading it on to Soufal. Soufal, great layoff, and then an absolute. This is more for American football for punters, but I like to call this kind of goals piss missiles. Just tucked it in far corner. Love to see it.
Matt, what was you thinking when Jared Bowen cut inside and put it bottom corner against Mendy?
What's his preferred foot, mate? I mean, that's where we want to see Bowen, hit it. I mean, if you look at him, he's 24 years old, prime of his career, picks up a ball there. That's that clinical part of his game that he needs to get the consistency to, because it's from those kind of positions that makes a difference between an average striker or attacking midfielder and a real top class one, I always compare him to someone like Diego Jota, who's at Liverpool, and in the way that they work hard and do everything, but they lack that little bit of consistency and clinical finishing. And I don't know if you saw the one that Jota missed, get the open goal when he smacked it against the two defenders on the line. And you could quite easily put Jared Bowen in that position and he might do the same thing, So I do think they're very similar in that thing. And if you can just fix that end product and get it done, I think he'll be another level of player.
£60 million player, without question.
Definitely. And I mean, that goal just had everything. That brilliant pass from Souček. I was really impressed with Souček. I liked how Souček played after, giving him a little bit of criticism over the last few games. That ball through and Soufal. I know a lot of people wax lyrical about Ben Johnson, but if you ask me, both on top form, I still prefer Soufal. I think he just has that little bit more to him. I know Ben Johnson will come good, and I'm sure he'll be an integral part of our team over the next couple of years. But right now, I mean, just that little bit, like Soufal winning the ball there, and that goal went in. I'm happy for Bowen because, to be honest, I wasn't impressed with him at Brighton when he played at Brighton. I didn't think he had the best game there. Even at Man City, I think he was off. And I think that's his third goal of the season, though. So, I mean, if he can start picking up those, and become a player that's going to get minimum 10, 12 goals a season, it's going to make a big difference to not only him, but us.
It's crazy how much a goal can do for your confidence. I mean, Souček scored against Chelsea, or who do we just play before? Brighton, yes. Souček scores, next game puts in an absolute graft, as he does usually, but it's just crazy how much a goal can really just brighten your overall play. No pun intended.
I got to admit, the finish is top. Well, it's world-class finish, I think, especially against Mendy, he's the best goalkeeper in the league so far this season. Obviously, we get to 2-2, and then we lose Kirk Zouma. I just want to have a quick talk about that. But I want to hear your thoughts also on Issa Diop's performance also. So I'll start off with Lucas. What do you make of both players?
With Zouma, all you can really do is say a prayer before you go to sleep, count the blessings, and hope for the best. He said he heard a pop in his knee. I hope he's wrong.
Yeah.
And just I'm hoping it's not season ending. I think if worst comes to worst, I think we could do without him for I heard 2 to 3 months. I think 2 to 3 months, I think we can maybe do it. Maybe. But anything longer than that, that's gonna be a real struggle. And I'm very happy for Issa Diop. He had a very solid game, very solid match yesterday, and I'd love to see it. I'm a Issa Diop supporter. I look at him the same way as Johnson. They're still young, and especially in terms of being a defender, you're not going to hit your peak till you're about 27, 28.
Yeah.
And it's such an art that not a lot of people appreciate. And there's just tiny little things that if he cleans up, he's going to be elite. He can be world class. He's got all the tools.
Yeah.
But the good confidence boost for next game. I think if we had to play Dawson and Diop, I really think that we could play that with some confidence. So I'm happy overall.
I agree, mate. I agree. Matt, what do you make of it? No Zouma now. It's a massive blow, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, I do think if Zuma's out, we need to get him for a centre back in January. 100%. I think Tarkowski is running down the end of his contract. Maybe a little bit of cash could tempt them to. I know they're willing to let his contract run out supposedly, but I mean maybe if you stuck in 10, 12 million, maybe they'd be tempted just to take the cash and let him go. I like him. I think the good thing is he's a left-footed centre back as well, which we know the importance of in the modern game of having a left-footed centre back is something that's really important these days. But yeah, if Zuma's out, I mean, that's really going to hurt us. That is, especially with Ogbonna out. I mean, that's our two senior defenders really out. And like you said, if they're looking at 2 or 3 months, could derail us massively, especially with all of these games coming up quick and fast over the winter period. Diop, yeah, I really rated Diop. I think he had a really good game. I mean, if you look at the average player positionings before Ben Johnson went off, he was really high up the pitch most of the time. If you look at Johnson, he was playing a lot higher than Soufal was in general before he went off. And then it kind of switched up, and Soufal was a bit higher up the pitch a little bit later. But and Diop really covered that left centre back role really well. And especially when Masuaku came on, and we know the double work. I mean, any time that Masuaku comes on, you know that guy is going to have to work double as well. And I really do think he did well. I think he was very safe, very secure. And just one thing, I thought of his passing out the defence was absolutely outstanding. I thought he was really, really solid with his passing. I think he had like a 94% pass success rate.
And he's progressive.
Not only the success rate, just the way that he moved the ball and those kind of like slick, fast 22-yard passes along the floor into the centre midfield. You know, he wasn't only looking out wide, he was putting in good passes, low, hard through the middle. And you know, just it makes a difference because I think this year, since we've lost Lingard, our football's about transitions, really, isn't it? How you transition from defence to attack and attack from defence. That's where you win and lose games, is in transitions. And I think that our transitions from a defence to attack have suffered a little bit this year, you know, with not having Lingard, because I think that's one of the things that Lingard's greatest qualities is, you know, getting us to transition quickly. And I think that if Diop can become one of those guys, like Zuma's shown as well, that we can have these ball-playing centre-backs that can help us transition, I really think that that's going to help us with our game. And especially if what we are expecting in Lingard comes back, that will be really interesting to see how that can improve.
I agree, mate. I agree. I really do. I think Issa deserves a bit of love. And I think he deserves a bit of respect. I thought he played well against Chelsea, considering that's his first start in the Premier, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he's done well against, let's be honest, the best team in the country at present. But we will get onto it now. And Arthur Masuaku. Right. I got slated on a Facebook group. I said that he shouldn't be on the pitch. I said Harrison Ashby should be on. I said, this geezer can't defend. And then he goes and puts that ball, Lucas, in the top corner. Cross, shot, whatever it is, he's ended up in the top corner. Tell me what you think when that ball goes in the top corner, mate.
I went absolutely fucking ballistic because, I mean, I've told you this many times. I always preach. I love Arthur Masuaku. I don't know. I just love positive players. Even the good with the bad, you got to appreciate a positive player. But we all know what comes with him as soon as he comes on the pitch. And to no surprise, the second he is subbed on, a chance is created on his side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Literally the second. And, you know, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn or two shits if it was a cross or a shot. I really have no opinion because at the end of the day, these are professional football players. I know he tweeted that he was just as surprised as us, but I mean, when you look at it back, he lines it up. He does take a look at Mendy, and he could have mishit it or whatever, but it ended up being an absolute worldie and a massive 3 points to open up a gap. And if Crystal Palace would have hung on today, I mean, we could have had a serious gap starting to form because after winning a match like that, it's hard to look down from there, you know. And yeah, I'm appreciative for his contribution, and just thank God it went in.
I agree, mate. I agree. Matt, what was you thinking when Masuaku put that in the top bins?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I was just in shock. My wife was next to me. I was actually standing up because we just sent our sofa off to get repaired. So I don't have a couch. I don't have a sofa right now. So I was standing up next to, and I just looked at my wife and I was like, "Wait a sec, did that go in?" I was like, I didn't believe it myself. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm sure there was a bit of luck there because Masuaku's pretty sound with his ball. His crossing's pretty decent. He's pretty consistent. I don't know whether he meant it. I don't think he did. I think it was luck. But I mean, I'm still going to say, mate, I just don't. I'm not I'm not one of these people that just because of one circumstance allows him to remain blameless for other situations. I'm really sorry. I'm very grateful, very thankful for his goal. But I still think that doesn't give him a get out of jail free card for other stuff. Because you can look at it in many, many, many players. Look at Emil Heskey, would play absolutely shit for 6-7 games, then score a brace, 2 goals in one game, and everyone would be waxing lyrical about him again, and he'd keep in the team, for example. And I just think that in this case, I've always said Masuaku, if he's going to play, okay, you can have him as a left wing back as long as you have a strong left centre back, and as long as where Rice and Souček and whoever are willing to pick up the slack in case of bad positioning there, as long as there's an understanding there. Or the other thing is stick Masuaku in one of the front three behind Antonio. Have him as an option there, because in the same way, like as Lucas, I like the fact he's positive. I like the fact that he runs at people, which is something that we've lost, since we lost Lingard and since we don't have Payet. We've got a lot of players that aren't willing to run as much, And anyway, that's another story. He's being coached out of the game, to be honest. Dribbling's being coached out of the game, to be honest. But I do think that, he does need to build up his consistency, because for me, if Creswell is going to be out or he's got this knock, and Masuaku is going to be playing regularly, I'm not happy about it, to be honest. I'm not happy about it, and I don't want to sound negative, mate, but I just don't. I just think that it could, for a lot of people. I've had arguments as well, and I think it's a complete overreaction of some people that one goal is going to give him a get out of jail free card for all of the other calamities that he does. Yeah. And I just don't think that's.
You said it perfect, though. I think it's all your keyword. It's all about understanding.
Exactly.
And because I really do think Masuaku, I don't think he's an impact sub. I think he can be, but there's got to be that understanding where, in my perfect world, if I'm managing West Ham, I would put Arthur Masuaku at left wing back, but I would love for him to maybe in defense trail towards the midfield and have Thomas Souček drop back and cover that ground, because he doesn't go forward that much anyway. You know what I mean? So I really think it's all about understanding. And I truly, if Moyes, and that's another thing we'll probably get to later, if Moyes can surprise us with that, when he ran the 2 strikers up top and Lanzini in behind instead of a 5-2-3, I think he can figure something out for Masuaku to stop the liabilitiness, if that's even.
I don't think so, Lucas. I just don't think this geezer can defend. I agree with Matt on this one. I really do. I think for what he does going forward, I think he's pretty okay, pretty decent, I would say. But defensively, he's all over the place. And you've only got to look at it this time last week. When Manchester City's out of position for the first goal. Wednesday night, he's out of position. He's got one job to do. Mark Lamptey, first time he's on the pitch, he lets Lamptey run off him, cross the ball in, it's 1-0. And he's been here a long time, Arthur. He ain't like he's been here a year or two. He's been here 6 years. He's been here since the first season at the ELS, I think it is. So it's one of them ones really with him. I look at him and I just don't see a left back. I don't know what I see. I just see a winger really.
I think the problem is, as I say, I'd like him in the front 3, but there I think he lacks the work rate, because I mean the thing about our front 3 is Bowen, Fornals, Ben Rama, whoever you put in there, their work rate is immense. And I just think that maybe Lanzini's work rate is a little bit lower, but I don't know.
No, nor do I, mate. But he scored the goal, and we got the 3 points. And obviously, I was thoroughly enjoyed the win. But yeah, who was your man in the match, Lucas? Who would you say stood out for you?
Jared Bowen. Like I said, as close to a 10 out of 10 as you can have without scoring a hat trick.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do.
Personally, I probably would give him a 10.
And who was your second player that you would say put in a really good performance?
For me, I really thought Sufal was really good. And he did adjust well to having to drop into being the third center back. I'd probably go Sufal, and then Dawson or Diop is close to that. I'd probably go Diop if I had to pick between him and Dawson, but I'd go Sufal personally.
And Matt, for you, mate?
Yeah, I think Bowen, the same way that we had a good run of about 8 games where it was man of the match apart from Declan Rice, to be honest, wasn't it, for a while. But no, I think Jared Bowen, I mean, I definitely think that. I think Bowen takes it quite comfortably. I think and a second half Antonio was pretty effective. Lanzini as well, until he started getting gassed. You could tell that when he came off. I think, to be honest, Moyes probably gave him about 10 minutes too much, to be honest. I mean, he went off at about 85. I probably would have taken him off around the same time that Zuma went off, I think around 70 minutes, because you could see that Lanzini maybe still not 100% match fit, or just getting up to that, match sharpness, maybe more than match fit, And I agree with Lucas. I think Sufal was great, and I just want to make a shout out to Declan Rice as well when he dropped into the back three as well. When he got his little bit of note, when he got his note from Moyes that he stuffed in his shorts, and he dropped into the back three there, and yeah, absolutely blinding. I mean, and that's one of these things that, I mean, I made a little meme there of where's Crowley on. Where and it just shows that maybe against these top teams, or maybe in this situation, if we can't pick up a centre back and we're going up against the top teams, slot Rice in there and give Crow a chance in the back, in the defensive midfield alongside Souček, because against the top teams, I mean, luckily we do have quite an easy. Nothing's easy in the Premier League, is it? But I mean, we don't have the toughest running over the next couple of games. I mean, we've got a fairly good games coming up.
Yeah, got a good run over Christmas, and I can see what you're saying about Declan. I've said that a couple of times today. I've turned around and said I could see him coming in against certain teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing with Issa, but. Yeah, I agree, Matt. I really do. For me personally, man of the match for me is Bowen, 100%. I thought he was absolutely first class. I want to give a shout out to Issa Diop, though. Yeah. For me, it takes a lot of bottle to come in, play against the best team in the country. Have only conceded 1 goal, all season so far, and he come in and Issa played really, really well. I must admit, and. Now he's going to be massively important, and I hope he gets the love that he deserves. I just hope he gets the love, and he deserves some respect now. Yeah. So yeah, for me, Bowen and Issa for me. Obviously, Deck done really well going back to a back three. I must admit, when obviously Zuma went off and they brought Fornals on and had to sort of change it around massively. But yeah, for me, Issa done really well. I've got to admit that, and I was thoroughly proud of the geezer for coming on and doing that. So, lads, we won the game 3-2. Give us your final thought moving forward, Lucas, to Burnley.
lastly, on the Chelsea game, gotta give a huge shout out and credit to Moyes. He definitely did what we were all screaming for, or at least what we were thinking. He changed up the team. Lanzini played well. I really, really enjoyed seeing us in a 5-3-1-2 instead of a 5 or 5-2-3 because it we've said this for numerous weeks now. 4-2-3-1 gets stale. Any formation sometimes gets stale, and there's no creativity. And I really enjoyed seeing Bowen and Antonio making runs off each other. If we're going to continue that formation, I think it will take a little bit for Antonio to settle in as having to start playmaking a little bit instead of always making a run, which I think he can do. It's all just about awareness. And I enjoy seeing Bowen playing up top and just focusing on getting forward and pressing. And to Burnley, it's another bogey team of ours. But I'm positive we should be beating them. And like Matt said, our next couple of fixtures, that's where we really need to be putting the graft, getting 3 points, and start trying to separate ourselves. It's going to be difficult, of course, but we've got the quality to do it. Burnley, Arsenal, Norwich, and then Southampton, Premier League. We obviously got Tottenham after Norwich, but we should be beating Burnley. We can definitely beat Arsenal, and should be beating Norwich, of course. So we should be expecting 3 points against Burnley, but as a semi-bogey team, I don't know, but I'm hopeful for 3 points.
Hopeful for 3 points. And Matt, final thought and looking to Burnley, mate.
Yeah, I mean, like Lucas says, it's nice to see some flexibility in the formation. I mean, because like we've talked about before, and you can see it in other teams, if you get found out by the teams and you always play in the same way, you just lose that sharpness, you lose that edge, and people know how to set up against you, and you become too obvious. I've always said I would quite like to see us in a 4-1-4-1. I think Rice could hold the defensive midfield by himself, to be honest, especially as he held it long enough while Souček was being a passenger for a couple of games. No disrespect to him. And hammer out the midfield with Fornals, Lanzini, Benrahma, and Bowen. I mean, that would be, for me, well, I'd love to see that, and Antonio up front. When it comes to Burnley, yeah, like Lucas said, Burnley have been a bogey team, but in our last 2 games we have against them, we have won. So, I mean, before that, I think we lost about, 4 out of 5 against them. But it just seems that maybe we've turned the corner with them. Obviously, Burnley this year are not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination. They're really in trouble. I mean, they're not conceding too many, compared to other teams. That's one thing I will notice about them. It's not like they're shipping goals like a Watford or Norwich.
The play style has changed completely as well too, which is very weird to see. Like we're used to the park the bus Burnley, but now they're like kind of going full on, just like Bielsa press, which is really weird. And Max Cornet, for being a left back, is a damn good striker.
Yeah, and I just think that they've got dangerous players. They've got dangerous players. I just don't think that it's gelling. Maybe if we smash them, that could convince Tarkowski to come to us in January. But I mean, the worrying thing is whilst they're still, if they lose against us, I mean, that opens up that maintains a 3-point gap that they've got from the relegation zone to 17th place. So I mean, it's a massive game for them, and they're coming up against an informed West Ham, which is not easy. But I do have to say, not only Burnley, I'm absolutely chuffed with all of December, all of January, and all of February, to be honest. I mean, for me, the only real game that I'm worried about, and I don't know, maybe that sounds so arrogant or whatever, but I think it's 5th of March, I think it is. We've got Liverpool, because in this break, we've got Arsenal that are hit and miss. You don't know what Arsenal's going to turn up. It could be an Arsenal that are really strong or completely like Swiss cheese and holes all over the place like they had at the weekend. We've got Man United that looked a bit better under Ragnick, but again, with Man United, you don't know how they're going to turn up, and we've got
Only
a few
VAR
other
can stop us against United.
Yeah, and we've got Watford and we've got Leicester and Wolves and teams like that are coming up as well. But then again, we've got Palace and we've got Saints and we've got Norwich and we've got Newcastle. So there's a lot of points that we could pick up there if we just really, really consolidate our performances and focus on what we're doing well, and that's one thing that at least gives me that little bit of hope around Zuma's injury. If it's not as bad as it is, and it is, if we had City, we had we had City, we have Liverpool, whatever coming up close, a lot of tough games. Yeah. Then I would be a little bit more worried. But I think maybe, if we can over this period, if we don't manage to pick up anyone, because at the end of the day, we don't want our pants being pulled down in January either, because as we've talked about so many times, James, about wanting this left back and striker. And if we go out and get our pants pulled down and spend a lot of money on a centre back that's maybe not someone that we want, it might affect our budget for other things. And at the end of the day, even though a centre back is priority due to the current situation, doesn't take away the fact that left back and striker have been a priority for about 3 or 4 seasons now.
Yeah. I know, mate. I know. I've been calling for it for years. But what you just said is absolute bang on. For me, for my final thought, proud of the boys. That's one thing I will say. I will say that. Proud of the way they played. They got the win. And as I said earlier on with Charlie, doing the player ratings, it's been an hard week. Like Man City away, you go up there, doesn't go our way. We had the weather against us and everything.
Horrible.
Then the Brighton game wasn't great. And then I just knew West Ham would perform against Chelsea. It was on the cards. Do you know what I mean? But I must admit, the next 4 games we'll know where we're really at. I think if we go to Burnley and win, I think the Arsenal game is massive. I think the Spurs game, and obviously you've got the Norwich game, then you've got the Spurs game, then you've got Christmas. If we can get out of them without losing, I'll be over the moon. Obviously the Burnley game's going to be hard though. This is such a bitty team. But if we can do what we do against these teams and play solid and then wear them down, and towards the end, say Benrahma or Bowen or Fornells come into their own, hopefully we can get the win and get out of there. And January for me can't come quick enough. Like, I know it's about you don't want to you got to make sure you spend the right money and all that.
Yeah.
But for me, West Ham are 4th in the league. We don't end up 4th very often. Let's try and go for it this year. And last year we had a chance, and I think with a little more investment we might have got 4th. Let's hope this year
and it's positive. It's positive to hear with all the J-Lings news that he's not being selected and stuff like that. I'm happy to hear that we're really trying to sign him right off the cosh.
Yeah,
like I've been like betting and debating with all my other like top 6 friends that the way we're going right now, there's no way he doesn't come in before I said January 5th.
Yeah,
I think
he comes in literally no later than January 5th. Absolutely no way. He is ready and ready.
I'm expecting a New Year's announcement, mate.
Yes.
I'm expecting that it's all done and dusted. And like
January
you say,
1st.
They've got to be getting that stuff done under the table as we speak.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the deals have got to be done at the first week of January. Like we need centre halves, we need a striker at this club, and you're getting Lingard. and all to sort of push us further on. I
I
don't think we're
expect
far
to
away.
see him against Leeds on January 16th, ready to go.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And
I
he can
agree.
come straight into the team as well. That's one of the advantages, because at the end of the day, some players that come in need to adapt more, will struggle a bit more. And last time Lingard came straight into the team, literally, and had an absolute blinder. And now I'm sure if he did the same thing, if we did the same thing, then then when it could happen. The only worry that I hope it's not true, but they're talking about Newcastle, coming to make a massive contract for Lingard, because obviously they saw the effect that he had coming in halfway through the season with us. The massive impact he had. So I mean, maybe they're trying to throw it out there.
I don't think Newcastle are really in a situation to get these players at present. Like, I think I think they're in trouble myself. So, and I think no one's going to take the risk. I think Lingard comes to us. I'm pretty certain of it.
The good thing I think we're going to see is going to be he's going to come in straight in, and there's no, after what he's gone through the past however many months it's been, we're getting a player that's going to come in right in, and I don't think he's going to be complacent one bit.
No.
Like, he's been ready for God knows how long now after being lied to. And if he did go to Newcastle, if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be worried. Because in my opinion, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's got to get their money somehow, some way, whether it's deserved, not deserved. But if I was a Newcastle fan and I got Jesse Lingard, I'd be worried about complacency. Because at the end of the day, we all know you'd rather play in London than Newcastle.
Sorry, man, I was just going to say the one thing that I will say is that with Rangnick coming in, I think he made a stamp on his team straight away, didn't he? If you saw that he brought in Diogo Dalot and he brought in Tellez as well, I think that was a pretty big stat.
West Ham boy Carrick brought him in.
Yeah. And the other thing that is I read about on Twitter, and I think it is true, because you can see from what happened in the game that he likes that young Swedish guy Anthony Elanga that he actually put on the bench from the under-21s team. He put him on the bench in a place that could have gone for Lingard, and he actually brought him on. I think he got about 15 minutes in the last end of the game. So I mean, if that's true, and he does like the look of him, then that further spell pushes, because
it would have to be some gargantuan offer. I'm talking like
I don't think it's
like 150 bags a week.
No, I don't even think it's about the money anymore, mate. Lingard,
I
really don't.
I'm just saying, if he were to go to Newcastle, it would have to be a stupid amount.
Yeah,
I think it's a massive step down if he goes to Newcastle, because Newcastle ain't getting in the Champions League, and West Ham can possibly Champions League contenders. So
we can still do the quadruple, baby.
And he's 28. His career's not. No disrespect to him, but like we talked about, okay, maybe at centre back you're looking at 28 being the pinnacle of your career. Well, he's at the pinnacle and will start to, this could be the last big competitive move left in his career, because he's not world class. He's a solid, decent Premier League footballer, but he's not like an Ibrahimovic or a Ronaldo that's going to make a big move when they're 33, 32 to a top club. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, whether he likes it or not, he's not stamped his presence in the Man United team. I think, in fact, his birthday's coming up. I was reading he's going to be 29. So
15th of December.
15th, yeah. So I mean, he's not getting. None of us are getting any younger. But I mean, he's in that situation now where, like you said, coming to a club, fighting for the Champions League. I mean, this is a club that loves him. Because we do love him. Whatever we say, it just. I mean, it would be so fucking stupid if he didn't come to us.
But we will have to find out in January, gents. I want to thank Matt for coming on tonight. Thanks, I really do appreciate your time coming on tonight, mate, and giving your thoughts.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
Yeah. Lucas, my brother from Maryland, near DC. Thanks a lot for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it. As from you also.
Always, anytime.
No worries, mate. No worries at all. Katie K has messaged me. She said, "Can I do it tomorrow?" So it looks like I'm doing a fan cam with Katie K tomorrow. So check that out. You know what I mean?
Excellent.
That'd be fun. I want to thank everyone who's been watching tonight. I really do appreciate all of you and all the new subscribers to that channel. If you are new around here and you're viewing this for the first time, give me a subscribe. It goes a long way. It helps me out greatly. And give the video a like. Final thought from me. Great result. 3 points. We've got to build on it though. Burnley next. Big game at Turf Moor. We don't usually do well at Lancashire. So we've got to go up there and Sunday, 2 o'clock UK time, which is about 10 a.m. American, isn't it? 9 a.m. Yeah, so
here's
breakfast.
8
East
o'clock.
Coast.
You're East Coast, yeah. I'm Central Time, so
that's 8 o'clock for you then, mate, is it?
yeah, mate. Yeah, like I said, I'm up at 4:30 anyway, 5 o'clock. So no issue for me.
Well, I'll be in the bar somewhere watching it probably, but that's neither here or there. Anyway, thanks a lot everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves and come on, you Irons.
Cool.